Welcome to this Roll for Crit review. Now, you may have heard of roll and writes or flip and write, but have you heard of roll and cut? Because we're taking a look at one of those with ClipCut Parks from Renegade Game Studios.
Yeah, I think this is the first of that genre. I feel confident saying they invented that.
That's probably a safe bet.
So in this game, you are trying to build parks, and you're doing so by cutting out pieces from your own individual sheet, as you can see here. The way it works is everyone's going to have their own sheet, and at the beginning of a round, one person will roll this die. Now this die tells you how many cuts you get to make on your paper and of what length they are. So in this case, it would be 3 cuts, 2 of 1 and 1 of 2. So for example, one cut would be like this along that end right there. That would be 1 cut of 1. You could make a cut of 2, and that would be like that. Now you can start in from any side that you want. You can even on a future turn cut from another place you already had started cutting from. So you might go that way, or even with this 1, 1, 2, maybe you would have gone 1 and then a 2 this way. You can zigzag around. What you can't do is combine any of those. So you can't say, well, I have a 1 and 2, so that's a 3, and make a 3 cut. And you also have to be able to cut the full amount. So if some of your pieces are already off and you can only make a 1, you can't say it's a 2 because there's an extra blank empty space in the air there. And the reason that's going to come up is because as you go, you'll be eventually cutting pieces of this completely off.
You're destroying the game piece.
I know, I'm really making a mess of things. And you're trying to do that because you want to put them on these, your little cards that will show you what your goals are. And you're trying to match these up by shape, also sometimes by color, by symbol, or by these little bridges, which means that they need to be connected to each other.
Now, you can use as many pieces as you want when building these, with the exception of those bridges, the walkways, those got to be connected. And once you do complete them, you'll actually get a bonus at the bottom. Sometimes it's in a free cut, as you can see here, a free 1 cut. This gives you some of these tokens, which let you ignore maybe some of the requirements you need for the building. But either way, you're going to get that. And the first one to complete 5 of these is considered the winner. Now, there's alternate modes with using more board cards or using these advanced cards here, which have much more difficult paths or even like more of these connecting walkways, because it's always fun to try to get that exact shape when you can't get the right rolls. The one other big thing is, let's say you cut this off, if I can pick up my scissors, and this piece does not fit on any of these current maps that I have.
That's no good.
You have to crumple it up and you lose it. Now early on that won't be as big an issue, but as you start making more cuts around the board, you may drop bigger pieces and you're going to lose access to them. So this really is sort of learning to manage your resources of this sheet.
Yeah, if you're not careful, you could end up with big parts of this useless to you. And it's really up to you. You can try to like fit this shape exactly, or you can just cut out singular squares and fill them in that way. Depending on what rolls come up, sometimes one of those 2 methods will probably be the easier one.
Right. The die really will decide the fate of it. While most of them are 1s and 2s, there is a double 3 and a 4, which oddly enough seem to come up a lot for us, which can be a bit of a pain.
Yeah, sometimes you're like dying for these 1s. You love those 1 cuts, like they're so useful, and oh, you can't get them, and you're like, well, I don't know what I'm doing with these 3s.
Well, I guess this is falling off.
Yeah, like sometimes you got to just make that sacrifice, which is a shame.
But that's basically the game. And because of that, though, that we're joking about the resources, that's really where it stands out from all your other roll and writes, or maybe, oh, this is a flip and write instead. Because I feel like a lot of those is just maybe writing numbers, and sure, maybe there's that time in Welcome to where you're like, man, I really wish that 12 pool comes out so I can use that. But in this, it really, a lot more of it is less, oh, I want to finish this. It's how do I use this the most efficiently?
Yeah, and it can be a real puzzle. Now, everybody has different color layouts. Your symbols are in the same place, I believe, but the colors are different, so you're all going to be cutting in different ways, too.
Yeah, and it comes with a whole huge pad, so you don't have to worry about, we actually have, when we started off, someone misunderstood how cutting worked. On the first time, we're like, that's great, give them another sheet.
Yeah, it comes with scissors also. There is
4 scissors. It comes up for 4 players. There's a solo mode, by the way.
There's a solo mode, which basically works the same way. In the solo one, you're working every round, you lose a card from the top of this deck, and when that runs out, the game is over, so you're working against the clock in that way instead of the other players. Other than that, it's pretty much identical, but I thought it was perfectly enjoyable. I still liked it. There's something really fun. It kind of takes me back to like being in arts and crafts at summer camp or something, of like sitting around a table and just cutting shapes. It's a little bit childish, but I really like that. It's maybe a little gimmicky, but it is effective for the game, and I don't know how else you could do it. It's not like tacked on.
It is gimmicky, but because of the finale of cutting off a piece and like crumpling if you don't use it, you really start that feeling of like, oh God, I really can't cut there. And it adds that, it's like, it's not really shouldn't be a pressure, but it becomes one, like a legacy game almost.
Yeah. Sometimes you do feel a little bad, like you gotta cut this thing up. And like in one of our games, we just kept playing because even though someone technically won already, we were like, well, we still have colors on our sheets and let's just keep going.
And you were doing the 5 too, so it's wasn't you had hit
you can play to 7, yeah.
From what we can tell, it's not too hard in terms of the 5. You shouldn't be too worried about. Oh, I lost my sheet. There's no way I can finish this. But that could be a possibility, maybe more with 7. We haven't tested 7 as much as the basic 5 version. And, these could be used for single player, or you can throw some of these in for the more difficult mode. Like, I think they have a thing like, use 2 for this kind of scoring, or like 3 if you really want to have a hard time.
Yeah, I threw 1 in for my solo game, and I completed it. I actually did pretty well.
Nice.
I got 24 points. They don't tell you if that's good or not, but you can let me know if you have a competing score.
There you go. 24 is the number to beat.
Crits and misses for ClipCut Parks. Crits. This is a new twist on the classic roll and write gameplay we're familiar with. Cutting things with the scissors is genuinely fun. It has a unique tactile feel to it, kind of a gimmick, but overall satisfying.
At first, you may think the scissors feel a bit gimmicky, as we've been stating, but once you start playing and cutting, that final cut and knowing that you only have a very limited resources from that sheet can actually make it feel more like a mechanic than a simple quick twist on the popular roll and write.
The puzzle solving and resource management gameplay forces you to think creatively about how and when to cut different aspects of your sheet.
Do you decide to try to get a bigger shape, or are you going to go for that safe single square? Snip, snip, looks like I took a bit too much off with the misses. The die can be very punishing at times. There's only 2 sides that have only 3s and 4s, and for some reason in our games, that came up a lot.
If the die is repeatedly just not giving you what you're looking for, you can really struggle to figure out how to cut on your sheet effectively. I will say one thing about that last miss, which I think is valid, but what's nice at least is that it affects everyone at the table equally.
That is
so
true.
It's not as if you're going to be at a disadvantage because of it, even though it's a little frustrating.
It was weird. And the reason why I want to mention 2 sides is because it doesn't make sense. Like, it should be pretty likely we get 1s and 2s, but we just kept getting double 3s and then a 4 to break it up.
The magic of dice, my friend. But yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, it's a super simple game. If you've played any other roll and writes, you kind of have an idea of what the feel of this is going to be like. But I liked it. I think it's something that is pretty different and it feels fun. And it's also especially probably for younger kids. I think they would really get a kick out of cutting up paper and assigning them to slots like that.
It was really weird because I'm like, okay, this is going to be another roll and write. Sure, there's scissors, but like, especially when you get to like card like 4 and 5, you're like, all right, if I take this, I can do the 3 here, and then 3. And then, of course, you'll be in the middle of cutting let's say I had a 2 here, and I forgot there was a cut here. I'm like, oh no, I already started. Well, there that goes.
Halfway through it, your brain goes, it is too late. That is going. It can be a brain burner in spite of how really simple it is. And, these tokens are they're nice. I don't think they add too much. I would actually really like to see an expansion of maybe different types of cards, maybe some kind of different maps or symbols.
Well, what I think would be a cool idea was actually make a cooperative mode. You have like a big board in the center, you all have to work together to cut.
Now we're talking. That's a good idea.
My big question though is the scissors. They're not like they're too kitty and don't cut, but they have these, it looks like a ruler on there, and we're not sure what it's for because it doesn't match up with the squares.
My guess is wherever they ordered these from, the cheapest place, they were already just built in. And
I did not think that possibility. That
probably
could be
what
true.
it is. But these are nice scissors. Yeah, so ClipCut Parks, again, I think if you like roll and writes, it's a small, relatively cheap game. It's fun. I think you might as well pick it up. Maybe it doesn't do anything super groundbreaking.
Don't run with it.
But yeah, do not run with this box or any of its contents. Let us know in the comments down below. Have you played ClipCut Parks? Do you like it? And what's your high score in the solo mode? Can you take on my mighty 24?
It'll be a hard number to beat. Let us know and we'll be excited to hear from you. I'm Will.
I'm Jonathan.
This has been a Roll for Crit.
Like this video, subscribe to our channel, and support us on Patreon. That would make us happy.
Maybe the next video is the one where Jonathan does a silly dance.